This is Mexico City, North America's densest and oldest city. It is the capital of Mexico and is located in the south central part of the country. When I first told people I was planning on visiting Mexico, they were happy. They're like, cool, you're going to Cancun, you're going to Tulum, you're going to Cabo. And I told them I was going to Mexico City. Let's just say they were not as enthused. They're like, oh, are you sure you want to go? Is it safe? Are you going to die? Will you be killed? So is Mexico City safe? Kinda. Will you be trafficked? Probably not. Is it worth a visit? 100%. Before there was Mexico City, there was this fun place called Tenochtitlan. This city was founded around 1325 in Lake Texcoco. The reason why they chose this location is because of an old Aztec legend. The legend says when they saw an eagle eating a snake on top of a hill, that's where they would build a great city. This symbol is still around today, being the coat of arms of Mexico and being on their flag. The city was built on two small islands originally and was divided into 4 zones with 20 districts called Calpulli. At the time the Spanish came across it in 1519, Tenochtitlan would have been one of the biggest cities on earth with a population of about 200k. Now the city wasn't just a big idiot colony. They had a complex society with things like trade, ritualistic human sacrifice, and terracotta aqueducts that would bring water from springs miles away. So what did the Spanish do within 2 years of meeting this new complex society? They looted it, destroyed it, and burned it down. Now to be fair, it wasn't just the Spanish, of course, who did this. They had help from a couple native groups who were not big Aztec fans. In 1524, from the ashes of Tenochtitlan rose the city of Mexico Tenochtitlan, which later in 1585 officially became known as Ciudad De Mexico, or Mexico City. The city played a big role in the Spanish colonial empire as a center for politics, administration, and finance, right up until Mexico got its independence from Spain in 1821. 3 years later, it became the lovable federal district that we all know today. Aside from the cool history, what is there to actually do there? Honestly, there's an endless amount of things to do there. They have things from everyone, if you love history or if you just want to go shopping all day. So I flew from San Francisco to Mexico City. It took about 4 hours, which isn't too bad. You will most likely land here at MEX. I'd recommend you get an Uber or a taxi to head to your hotel. If I wasn't with locals that I knew or tour guides, I always strictly took Ubers. If you take a taxi, you will be scammed. The Ubers honestly in Mexico are very affordable, especially if you're an American. They're like 1/4 the price they would be here in California. When you're looking for a place to stay in Mexico City, there's a couple areas that I recommend for first comers. Polanco. This part of the city is right next to a big park that has so much stuff to do and see, a lot of nice restaurants, and some of the best food I've honestly ever had in my life. They also have a lot of luxury shopping if that's your thing. It wasn't really mine, but I did walk down the strip, and there's a lot of cool shops from Gucci to even Tesla. Next time I come back to Mexico City, this is definitely the area that I plan on staying in. Centro. This is where I stayed. I was right next to the Monument to the Revolution. The area is pretty nice. You're about a 20-minute walk for a bunch of cool stuff to see, like the Angel of Independence, the Metropolitan Cathedral, and the Palace of Fine Arts. It is mostly just old historic things, but there is still a lot of cool parts that you can still explore. Roma Norte. This area had so much good food and bakeries everywhere, probably some of the best ganchos I've ever had other than homemade ones. This area felt super safe too. There was a lot of people walking their dogs. This place is another great area that you can just wander. There's so much to see here. You can go to so many areas, so many cool little shops. Of course, there's way more areas to stay in Mexico City. These are just the areas that I spent enough time in where I feel comfortable recommending it to people. If you're someone who lives in the city and you have other spots, please feel free to recommend it to us. When you are in Mexico City, especially when it's your first time, you need to go to the Lucha Libre fights. We went to one that was in Arena, Mexico, and it was the 20th anniversary of this wrestler called Mystico. I've never heard of the dude, but all the locals seemed to love him. They were screaming at the top of their lungs, everyone was just having a good time, and it was a really cool experience. Next time I'm going, I'm definitely gonna hit it up again. It was that good. I would, even if you've been to Mexico City a bunch of times, go to the Lucha Libre fight. And they're not too expensive. Tickets were probably like $40 for a pretty decent seat too. We're pretty close to the front. So we left the arena a little bit early because it is really packed when you're coming in. But leaving wasn't too bad. The area is not the best. Everyone online says to get out of there immediately. Everyone says to not walk around or hang out. I didn't listen to these warnings, to be honest with you. I just kind of walked back to our Airbnb because it was only like a 20-minute walk. And the taxis, because the city is so compact, the taxi would have been like 50 minutes. So I ended up choosing just to walk back. When I was walking back with my girlfriend, there was this tourist couple who were in front of us, maybe like 30 feet. And the guy kept looking back at me. You know, he was scared because he thought I was going to rob him. And I was looking back too. You know, I'm trying to make sure we're both in a safe area.
Who's there?
And nothing happened to me. I mean, I was totally safe. The biggest thing that I felt was just don't look like you're a tourist. Don't walk around like that guy did, just having your head right, left, right, left, right, left. You're gonna make it obvious that you don't know what you're doing. I literally had zero issues when I was walking around. Nothing. Not a single time did someone come up to me and threaten me or rob me or anything. The worst thing that I had stolen this whole trip was a towel. Another thing that I really recommend you guys to go visit is Teotihuacan. I'm sure that I'm butchering that name, I'm sorry. It's not too far from the city center, maybe like an hour and a half. Again, just take an Uber. Teotihuacan is a 2,000-year-old ancient town with 2 big pyramids. They are huge in person. The only thing that sucks about visiting them is that there's absolutely no shade. So if you come here in the summer, be ready to be annihilated by the sun god. The little site has so much cool history. There was a bunch of tour guides walking around explaining it. I didn't want to pay for a tour because I was with some local friends of mine. Another fun day trip you can do in Mexico City is going out to Tolontogo. Tolontogo is in the state of Hidalgo, and it's this little city with thermal baths. And you can just hang out in the thermal baths. There's like these caves that you can go in. There's water, you can just chill in. And it was a really cool time, honestly. It was worth the money. I did pay for a tour guide to take us there. It was about $100 each, which wasn't bad. But the only thing that kind of sucks about it, it's a 4.5-hour drive there from Mexico City. We were there for a couple hours. 4.5-hour drive back. I probably wouldn't do this again, but if it's your first time going, I would recommend it because it was a really cool experience. This is probably the biggest elephant in the room. Is Mexico City safe? Honestly, compared to places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, I felt pretty safe there. My girlfriend also gets pretty scared easily, and she felt pretty safe there as well. Armed with my high school level Spanish and Google Translate, I was able to get around pretty well. Not a lot of people speak English in Mexico City, which kind of surprised me, but honestly, just learn some Spanish. Spend like a month or two just learning the basic words of Spanish, and have Google Translate on your phone at all times. Also, to be fair, we never went to any sketchy areas. If I felt like an area was sketchy, I just avoided it. There's no point. You don't risk your life for no reason. I also never really stayed out past 11 p.m. Not because I was scared, just because I sleep, I'm not really out that late. I also don't drink, so I didn't go to any bars or go to any clubs. So maybe it's more dangerous there. I just don't know because I didn't go. The only thing I had to really be careful about during my trip was the food. I might be one of the few people who's ever gotten sick before even entering Mexico City. The day before my flight, I thought it was a good idea to eat the spiciest Indian food ever, and I got food poisoning, which, it is my fault for eating that kind of food before an international flight, but it was really good. So because of my stomach pain, a lot of my friends who lived in Mexico City told me just to avoid the street food and just be really cautious with a lot of the food down there. So yeah, I did end up avoiding a lot of street food just because I did not want my stomach to literally explode on me. I did eat street food twice. I had some fruit and then I had some quesadillas. The quesadillas were amazing. Literally 10 out of 10. Same with the fruit, 10 out of 10. I didn't feel sick after. I didn't really feel queasy. Again, it's just one of those things that you have to think for yourself if that's something that you want to risk. If you want to risk it, if you want to eat street food everywhere you go, be my guest. Do whatever you want to do, whatever you think is best. Next time I go down there, I do definitely plan on eating more street food. Hopefully I won't be sick next time. I didn't really feel like I missed a lot avoiding the street food. I know everyone says the street food there is supposed to be the best in the world, but I skipped out on it and I still had a great time. It was still a 10 out of 10 trip for me, even with my food sickness. I would also avoid drinking any tap water or street food vendors that have ice, because I did hear a lot of the water quality there is not too good. If you're at a higher end restaurant though, this shouldn't be an issue. You can eat or drink whatever you feel like there. Overall, man, Mexico City is an awesome place to visit. Even though I was sick the entire time, I still had a blast. It was fantastic. I would definitely recommend people who are visiting Mexico, don't just go to Cancun. Please go here too. It is such an underrated gem. There's so much stuff to do here, man. You will like it. Just don't be stupid down there and you will be safe. Don't try to mess around. Don't try to go to sketchy areas. Don't be an idiot, essentially. Don't get drunk on the street and then try to fight someone. Be smart. Be a reasonable person and you should be good. If you're someone who lives in Mexico City, please let me know what you think. If you have anything that you think people should visit or something that I should visit next time I'm there, let me know. I definitely do want to see more of the city. There was a lot of parts that I had to avoid just because I was really sick, and I was trying to not move around too much around the city. I did also cut a lot of info from this video just because I didn't want to make it too long, but I am going to upload my entire itinerary and how I would change that itinerary onto my website in a couple weeks. Just check the link in the description if it's there yet, and yeah, they should have more info on the trip if you're interested. Thank you for watching the video.